Islam. Today is March the 6th, 2019. I am reminded of Byfield-Bey. And first I'll be reading the Circle 7 Quran, chapter 18. The resurrection of Jesus. Pilate places the Roman seal upon the stone door of the tomb. At midnight, a company of the Silent Brotherhood march about the tomb. The soldiers are alarmed. Jesus teaches to the spirits in prison. Early Sunday morning, he rises from the tomb. The soldiers are bribed by priests to say that the disciples had stolen the body. The tomb in which they laid the body of the Lord was in a garden, rich with flowers, the Garden of Salome. And Joseph's home was near. Before the watch began, Caiaphas sent a company of priests out to the Garden of Salome, that they might be assured that Jesus' body was within the tomb. They rolled the stone away. They saw the body there, and then they placed the stone again before the door. And Pilate sent his scribe, who placed upon the stone the seal of Rome, in such a way that he who moved it would break the seal. To break this Roman seal meant death to him who broke the seal. The Jewish soldiers all were sworn to faithfulness, and then the watch began. At midnight all wore well, but suddenly the tomb became a blaze of light, and down the garden walked a troop of white-clad soldiers, marched in a single file. They came up to the tomb, and marched and countermarched before the door. The Jewish soldiers were alert. They thought his friends had come to steal the body of the Nazarene. The captain of the guard cried out to charge. They charged, but not a white-clad soldier fell. They did not even stop. They marched and countermarched among the frightened men. They stood upon the Roman seal. They did not speak. They unsheathed not their swords. It was the Silent Brotherhood. The Jewish soldiers fled in fear. They fell upon the ground. They stood apart until the white-clad soldiers marched away, and then the light about the tomb grew dim. Then they returned. The stone was in its place. The seal was not disturbed. They resumed their march. Now, Jesus did not sleep within the tomb. The body is manifest of soul, but the soul is without its manifest. And in the realm of souls, unmanifest, the Lord went and taught. He opened up the prison doors and set the prisoners free. He broke the chain of captive souls and led the captives to the light. He sat in council with the patriarchs and prophets of the olden times. The masters of all times and climes he met, and in the great assemblies he stood forth and told the story of his life on earth, and of his death and sacrifice for men, and of his promises to clothe himself again in garb of flesh, and walk with his disciples just to prove the possibilities of men, to give to them the key of life, of death, and of the resurrection of the dead. In council, all the masters sat and talked about the revelations of the coming age, when she, the holy breath, shall fill the earth and air with holy breath, and open up the way of man to perfectness and endless life. The Garden of Salome was silent on the Sabbath day. The Jewish soldiers watched, and no one else approached the tomb. But on the following night, the scene was changed. At midnight, every Jewish soldier heard a voice which said, Adon Masjid Shkumi, which meant, Lord Jesus will rise. And they supposed again the friends of Jesus were alert, were coming up to take the body of the Lord away. The soldiers were alert, with swords unsheathed and drawn. And then they heard the words again. It seemed as though the voice was everywhere, and yet they saw no man. The soldiers, blocked with fear, and still to flee meant death for cowardice, and so they stood and watched. Again, all this was before the sun arose. The heavens blazed with light. A distant thunder seemed to herald forth a coming storm. And then the earth began to quake, and in the rays of light they saw a form descend from heaven. They said, Behold, an angel comes. And then they heard it again, Adon Masjid Shkumi, And then the white-robed form tramped on the Roman seal, and then he tore it into shreds. He took the mighty stone in his hand as though it were a pebble from the brook, and cast it to the side. And Jesus opened his eyes and said, All hail the rising sun, the coming of the day of righteousness. And then he folded up his burial gowns, his headbands, and his coverings, and laid them all aside. He arose, and for a moment stood before the white-robed form. The weaker soldiers fell to the ground and hid their faces in their hands, and the stronger stood and watched. They saw the body of the Nazarene transmuted. They saw it change from mortal to immortal form, and then it disappeared. The soldiers heard a voice from everywhere, yet from everywhere it said, Peace, peace on earth, goodwill to men. They looked, the tomb was empty. The Lord had arisen, as he said. The soldiers hastened to Jerusalem and to the priests, and said, Behold, the Nazarene has arisen, as he said. The tomb is empty. And the body of the man is gone. We know not where it is. And then they told about the wonders of the night. Caiaphas called a council of the Jews, and he said, The news must not go forth that Jesus has arisen from the dead, for if it does, all men will say he is Son of Allah, and all our testimonials will be proven false. And then they called 100 soldiers in and said to them, You know not where the body of the Nazarene is resting now. So if you will go forth and say that his disciples came and stole the body while you slept, each one of you shall have a silver piece, and we will make it right with Pilate for the breaking of the Roman seal. The soldiers did as they were paid to do. Islam. That was chapter 18 of the Circle 7 Quran. Next I'll be reading from the Holy Quran of Mecca, continuing from chapter 2.
Okay. Pause the money. How many minutes?
7.
7. So the video might be long. It takes a long time to upload all this.
First I'll be reading the Fatiha. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, Merciful. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Master of Day of Acquittal. Thee do we serve, and thee do we beseech for help. Guide us in the right path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, not those upon whom wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray. Continuing where I left off, section 4. Greatness of man and need for revelation. And when thy Lord said to the angels, I am going to place a ruler in the earth, they said, Wilt thou place it in it such as make mischief in it and shed blood? And we celebrate thy praise and extol thy holiness. He said, Surely I know what you know not. And he taught Adam all the names, then presented them to the angels. He said, Tell me the names of those if you are right. They said, Glory be to thee. We have no knowledge but that which thou hast taught us. Surely thou art the knowing, the wise. He said, O Adam, inform them of their names. So when he informed them of their names, he said, Did I not say to you that I know what is unseen in the heavens and the earth, and I know what you manifest and what you hide? And when he said to the angels, Be submissive to Adam, they submitted, but Iblis did not. He refused and was proud, and he was of the disbelievers. And we said, O Adam, dwell thou and thy wife in a garden, and eat from it of plenteous food. wherever you wish, and approach not this tree, lest you be of the unjust. For the devil made them slip from it, and caused them to depart from the state in which they were. And we said, Go forth. Some of you are the enemies of others, and there is for you in the earth an abode, and a provision for a time. Then Adam received words from his Lord, and he turned to him mercifully. Surely he is the oft returning to mercy, the merciful. We said, Go forth from this state, all. Surely there will come to you a guidance from me. Then whoever follows my guidance, no fear shall come upon them, nor shall they grieve. And as to those who disbelieve in and reject our messages, they are the companions of the fire. In it they will abide. Section 5. Israelite prophecies fulfilled in the Quran. O children of Israel, call to mind my favor which I bestowed on you, and be faithful to your covenant with me. I shall fulfill my covenant with you, and me alone should you fear, and believe in that which I have revealed, verifying that which is with you, and be not the first to deny it, neither take a mean price for my messages, and keep your duty to me alone, and mix not up truth with falsehood, nor hide the truth while you know. And keep up prayer, and pay the poor rate, and bow down with those who bow down. Do you enjoin men to be good, and neglect your own souls, while you read the book? Have you then no sense, and seek assistance through patience and prayer? And this is hard, except for the humble ones, who know that they will meet their Lord, and that to him they will return. Section 6. Divine favors on Israel. O children of Israel, call to mind my favor which I bestowed on you, that I made you excel the nations, and guard yourselves against a day when no soul will avail another in the least, neither will intercession be accepted on his behalf, nor will compensation be taken from it, nor will they be helped. When we delivered you from Pharaoh's people, who subjected you to severe torment, killing your sons and sparing your women, then there was a great trial from your Lord. And when we parted the sea for you, so we saved you, and drowned the people of Pharaoh while you saw. And when we appointed it a time of 40 nights with Moses, then you took the calf for a god after him, and you were unjust. Then we pardoned you after that, so that you might give thanks. When we gave Moses the book, and the discrimination that you might walk aright. And when Moses said to his people, O my people, who have surely wronged yourselves by taking the calf for a god, so turn to your Creator penitently, and kill your passions, that is best for you, with your Creator. So he turned to you mercifully. Surely he is the oft returning to mercy, the merciful. And when you said, O Moses, we will not believe in thee till we see Allah manifestly, so the punishment overtook you while you looked on. Then we raised you up, after your stupor, that you might give thanks, and we made the clouds to give shade over you, and we sent to you manna and quails. Eat of the good things that we have given you, and they did not do us any harm, but they wronged their own souls. And when we said, Enter this city, then eat from it a plenteous food, whence you wish, and enter the gate submissively, and make petition for forgiveness, we will forgive you your wrongs and increase the rewards of those who do good to others. But those who were unjust changed the word which had been spoken to them for another saying. So we sent upon the wrongdoers a pestilence from heaven, because they transgressed. This all. That was sections 30 through 60 of chapter 2. That'll be all for this video. And the next part, I'll be reading a couple sections from the 1320. That's all.